Hi, I'm Sebastian Copeland, and I would like to take you on a journey. What is environmental, social, and governance? ESG for short is a framework used to measure business practices on sustainability and ethical issues and help motivate companies to act responsibly. In this episode, I will discuss the growing imperative for companies' social responsibility and find out how an automaker like Audi is pushing for a better tomorrow. Come on, let's go find out. Can you tell me, Antonio, what is We Live Diversity?
This is actually one of the core principles that we have within the Audi group.
And the car symbolizes the diversity we strive for. And it also symbolizes that we as D&I team try to break patterns, right? So we want to make things differently for a better workplace in the future.
If you give me the keys, I'll drive it off the lot. Diversity and inclusion. Can you define that for me?
Well, diversity, for one thing, is about bringing different perspectives into the company. So if you have a certain age, a certain gender, a certain experience at work or education, inclusion is about welcoming that diversity.
So we all, as a company as a whole and everyone individually, benefits from diversity and inclusion. We are a global company in a rapidly changing industry. We need to conquer this complexity with a diverse group of people by mirroring the diversity of our customers.
ESG, environmental social governance. How does diversity and inclusion makes its way into that level of corporate commitment?
One thing that the capital markets have realized is that a good diversity and inclusion in a company makes company more successful financially in the end, in the long run. So they have included diversity and inclusion within the frameworks.
How do you deal with that type of headwind when people are saying, issues of that nature are part of a woke culture? What do you say to them?
Well, I think when people who have or are accustomed to privileges, they feel that equality is oppression because they seem to fall behind, when you put other people first. I give you an example. When we started talking about queer in 2018, we founded a network, an employee network. And I think a lot of people were irritated because they didn't understand why that needed to be discussed in a work environment, because it's a private issue, right? What they, once again, because of privileges and biases, what they didn't know, that they talk about their own sexual orientation on a daily basis without realizing it. Because I bring my wife, my husband to a certain event, and in that moment, they had a coming out, they talked about their sexual orientation without realizing it.
Do you see a transition in the mentalities?
We have a lack of competencies in certain fields, like every other company out there, in the IT business, in the artificial intelligence business. So when they start realizing that people are not coming anymore as easily as they were used to, they start thinking, and then their own children come home and say, well, Daddy, I don't want to work like you anymore. Maybe I want to work someplace else. That gives me more freedom, that, makes me feel more included than things that I've seen from your daily business.
So you've mentioned KPIs. For some people who don't know what that is, can you explain what KPIs represent?
KPI stands for Key Performance Indicators. So they measure how performant we are, how successful we are with our initiatives. It's hard figures that we attach to our efforts, and that's quite a difficult task because especially inclusion is a culture topic. It's hard to grasp, it's hard to assign a figure to it, but we've tried now with the inclusion survey to do exactly that.
What would you say has been a benchmark of success
First one I'd like to share is we had our first international D&I event 2 years ago to make people aware of that we are a global company where it's not only Ingolstadt as the center of everything. And the other one is actually the survey we launched this year on inclusion. And the questions we ask there go very deep. They are very emotional, very personal. And we were able to do this survey in a rather traditional environment, and I think that's a huge success as well.
The topic of diversity and inclusion is relatively new in society. How do you integrate that with people who consider that a bridge too far from a corporate leadership to be impacting their belief system?
Well, I think there are people who can be convinced. You know, there might be missing this one bridge, that one link to their own maybe biases that they have. So that's fairly easy done. And then you have people who run up front. You know, those are easy to catch because they can spread the word within the company. And then you have those who just deny that this is necessary, just as you have people still out there who deny that climate change is coming, right? So when you talk about CO2 emissions or diversity and inclusion, for those people, you can still say, well, listen, things are changing out there.